Hi, welcome to our podcast, Barely Even Friends. It's me and June today. We're going to be talking about a little update on the elections in Ireland, uh, the Dutch election, and then predictions for the American election. But right now, we're going to start with what just recently happened in Ireland with the race riots. June, you
Yeah,
want to take it away?
yeah. Just updates on, in my opinion, there's an ascendancy of the far right around the world, in all corners, it feels like. So I was going to mention the Argentinian and the Dutch elections, but in Ireland, some shit went down yesterday. Um, I think details are still coming out, and, I don't want to get anything wrong, so, just accept I'm paraphrasing on the details here. But essentially, a family was stabbed yesterday by, I believe, it was an Algerian naturalized Irish citizen. So someone of Algerian descent who had immigrated to Ireland, and he was an Irish citizen in his 40s. I don't know why he stabbed his family. It's atrocious. He stabbed a mom, I believe, 3 kids. I believe they're all alive. So, terrible incident. It is wild from an American perspective because, I was talking to Kyle before we started recording, but this kind of stuff happens, it feels like, nearly daily in America. But I understand, different culture in Ireland for sure. But, the far right completely ran with this, and they started rioting last night, like full-scale rioting, burning down buses, burning down cop cars, burning down stores and looting them. I seen an article saying it's the worst riots in Ireland in decades. And what's concerning is, usually these protests come from the left in Ireland, but this is complete far right in force. People are protesting under the slogan, Irish lives matter. And I'm not saying Irish lives don't matter, but
I
it's
am.
in a yeah, Kyle is, but it's in a completely reactionary tone. And you have famous people like Conor McGregor. I'm sure some of you are familiar with one of those famous people in Ireland. He's completely rallying around this these reactionary protests, saying Ireland's at war, and at war with who? And people are saying like, oh, there's been too many immigrants in, and this guy who was here should never have came. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. He's a naturalized citizen. And, the detail that they're actually missing is the person who actually possibly saved this family's life. The guy who was doing the stabbing was tackled to the ground by a Brazilian immigrant who isn't even a naturalized citizen in Ireland yet. And this has nothing to do with immigrants. Whoever's stabbing is fucked.
If it was America, there would have been shots fired. These people wouldn't have lived. This is why we need gun control.
Exactly. I don't know, it's disturbing, and I do have to wonder, considering it's the biggest riots in Ireland in decades. My question is this connected to a general cultural reaction to what's happening in Israel-Palestine? Definitely seems like Islamophobia is very much back in play in the West. And I want to talk to Kyle about these Dutch elections too. The PVV. I can't pronounce that guy's name. The Dutch Donald Trump, whatever his name is, Geber Wiets or something, won in Netherlands, and you have Javier Milei winning in Argentina.
And yet also all this year too, the far right has won in Sweden, Italy.
Yes.
I don't remember the other countries, but they're on the rise.
Those two countries for sure. Slovakia also had a vaguely Oswald candidate win.
Yeah, then the AFD is gaining in the polls in Germany as well.
Yeah, it's doing very well in polls. It's concerning, it definitely seems like right now Trump is leading in polls. We'll see what happens with that. But
it's actually interesting though, because the Democrats actually didn't do as bad as everyone expected during the elections this year.
Exactly. But we can take this back to America for a moment. Is it's going to be hard to predict what happens, I think. But I think something we see in the polls is that the Democratic platform is a lot more popular than Biden himself. That, when you look at the polls, people say they would vote for a generic Democrat candidate, like +6 over Biden or something. While I think on the flip side, I think of Trump, it's a bit confusing. I think there's a lot of anti-Trump people and very, very staunchly pro-Trump people on the Republican side. But I think Trump has a rallying effect for the right that stuff like abortion doesn't really anymore.
You also have with Trump as well. He activates a lot of non-voters for the right.
Yeah, yeah, and I saw this too. They just did like a focus group or something in Georgia where they found people who like don't like Trump or Biden lean Trump, which is kind of interesting for a selection. Like, I feel like in 2020 it was probably the opposite.
Well, because right now you have a bunch of you have crazy inflation going on, and like you have like this shit going on in Israel. There's a lot of stuff going on in America at the moment.
Yeah,
and they felt like things were better under Trump, but that's more of a hot. It's more of a. They just remember getting the checks, to be honest. That check.
yeah. I mean, I think my honest, sincere opinion is, there's a lag on policy. A lot of the shit we're dealing with in America today goes back to the Trump
policies, yeah.
presidency. But on the same side, it's like Biden's done a completely terrible job at handling this.
It really doesn't help you. A lot of the inflation stuff is from the fact they get a bunch of tax cuts during the Trump administration, and they proceeded to use the COVID crisis and like the various different like logistics issues to raise prices up as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the egg industry just got caught price fixing last year, right? Like officially indicted. I don't know. I mean, we're gonna say.
Also with Virginia, the Democrats won the House of Delegates the first time in like 10 or so years.
That was really probably since the Obama era, right?
Yeah. So then on top of that, you had the Democrats. You had Ohio vote to legalize marijuana and abortion. There was also, I think there was somewhere else where abortion also did very well, and the Democrats did way better than they expected. Oh yeah, Kentucky. The governor got reelected, the Democrat governor.
Yeah, but my concern there, because you have this happen though in other years, right? Where something like in Florida, right? They passed something very progressive on referendum one year, right? And the same year they elected DeSantis and voted for Trump.
Oh well, the DeSantis thing, the first time he got elected, he only won by like 20,000 votes.
Exactly. But then they come down to these thin margins in 2024. I think it makes this one hard to predict what's going to happen. In 2020, I think if I recall correctly, I think I saw the two number one things that people voted for Biden for were the COVID pandemic and racial injustice in America, right?
Those and he doubled down on the police, and then they just gave up on COVID.
They gave up on COVID. In my opinion, they completely messed that up. But people don't care about COVID regardless of whoever you are. Biden can't rally on COVID anymore, and I think at this point the racial justice sounds like a joke. I think he's probably broken with it. I think the Democratic 2020 coalition was always a coalition of various anti-Trump groups, but one of those were these grassroots, NGO and activist groups. But I think Biden was the first thing he did was completely, drop those people in T1, and now with the Israel-Palestine situation, I think he's completely burning that bridge, and we can see that it could be mended in a year. It's not going to be mended with me, that's for sure. But I don't know. It seems like people are very radicalized by this. I'm just not sure, how much can change. A lot can change in a year. I don't know, though. I mean, what's your opinion, Kyle?
So at the moment, if you look at the polling, it's surprising. Yeah. Biden's actually doing better now with the more liberal part of the party. But I think it's because he's doing worse with the independents. Yeah. So independents are a variety of different people. People are usually extremely far right or far left. It's very, very rarely people in the center.
Yeah.
So like in Ohio, it's fucking 77% independent.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah. I didn't realize that's funny. Yeah. Why is he? I saw something that Georgia poll did too. So they're saying that people are leaning with Trump, but apparently a lot of people were saying that he's not never Biden, never Trump. So I guess not liking of either said that they feel like Biden has been too far left in his presidency.
You had Joe Manchin calling up Biden an extreme leftist.
Yeah. I mean, I have to ask, on what sincerely is Biden extremely left on? They said they were hoping that. Oh, yeah, you're going to say?
It's because, everything he did try to pass, there was enough moderates, quote-unquote, to block You had the minimum wage. You had I forgot. There was a bunch of other stuff that they like really cut back that would have
Yeah,
been way better.
yeah. But I definitely feel like Democrats went into that knowing that those things wouldn't get passed. But
Yeah, that was the whole
you
point of
know,
them. Yeah,
exactly. I think it's that Biden does. He signals on social issues, right, but doesn't actually do anything meaningful.
yeah, he
So
doesn't
I
follow
think,
through.
right wing media can, smear him on, something that I think most people, I think what is a serious issue. Don't get me wrong, but I think this does not affect 99% of people. For example, trans women athletes, which I think they should compete, obviously, in the sports they want to compete in. But
The
right
average
wing
voter
media,
doesn't give a shit about that. Like,
yeah, and then Biden said he agrees with that. Now, like right wing media is like, look at how insane left Biden is. Like this actually doesn't meaningfully impact the majority of Americans at all.
it's funny
Like,
because they've been spending the right has been spending a lot of time on trans issues. It's a
yeah,
losing battle for them. Like every time they spend a lot of time on abortion and trans, that's why
yeah,
they've been doing horrible this year. And
and
that's
yeah, I
probably
get,
also, yeah, they did worse than they expected last year as well.
yeah.
Because
And I
these
think it
aren't
makes people
winning
uncomfortable.
issues. Well,
Yeah, it's not winning. It's not winning. So I don't really know if people are even mad at Biden with. I mean, I know I'm mad at Biden with, but from what people think he's too far left on, I really don't know. I mean, I think his. We'll see how things go, but I think foreign policy, in my opinion, I think it's going to have this new factor in elections that we haven't seen before with the significance of social media. I think where I don't know, let's say in the past, let's say the Gulf War in the '90s, you wouldn't have interacted on it without like CNN, which are Fox or MSNBC. Well, MSNBC wasn't even around yet, but they'll give mostly pro-American position. Now things like the Ukraine war and now Israel-Palestine are insanely talked about on social media. And social media is the number one place to look at their news from now. Um, I don't know. I think Ukraine is going to kind of look like not good on Biden's record, given how much money everyone knows he gave Ukraine, and that
and
it's
the war's a stalemate now.
the stalemate. It's going to be hard to spin that as a win.
Well, it
And
looks like they're shifting too. They have all that Ukraine needs to start negotiating with Russia. Kind of seems
yeah,
like they're predicting the war is basically over now.
yeah. I mean, I think they're going to be like, oh, we defended all of Ukraine from being taken over, but I don't know. I mean, I'm a bit disgusted with the whole situation. I think it was, for the most part, all this I think could have been negotiated to an end a year ago, but the
Yeah,
U.S.
before
there,
the invasion even happened, to be honest, they should
yeah,
have.
exactly. But I think the U.S. wanted war to burn on as long as possible, and now I don't know how many dozens of thousands of Ukrainians are dead now. I don't even know the number, but a terrible number, and I think some of these places are going to be destroyed for decades. I doubt the U.S. is really going to do anything actually meaningful to help rebuild Ukraine besides, IMF and restructuring programs for Ukraine. And now, Israel Palestine, I think everyone in America is quite troubled by the situation for different reasons. It just, no better word, a shit show. And I would say a genocide, and I mean, not all Americans use that word. But I think that is going to not. I know some polls are saying that Biden's response would help him in the election. I just can't see how at this point. But I don't know. What do you think?
That's because you're looking at it through a left, like liberals lens. Most
Yeah,
Americans are mostly moderate to center right, and so depending where in the country, it'll either help or benefit him. Because he's kind of running on. He's strong on foreign policy. He got him out. We prevented it. We got out of Afghanistan. Then like he stopped. He can run that. He prevented Ukraine falling into Russia. Then he's helped Israel destroy Hamas or weaken Hamas severely.
yeah. But Hamas will still be around in a year. But the polls do show that the majority of Americans don't agree with how Biden has responded to.
And it's based on the age. That's the thing. Like the older the people are, the more they agree with Biden. The younger they are, the more they disagree.
Way more, but it's across the board. I think you get almost over 50% of people don't agree with it. And maybe in
Yeah,
the first few weeks, some people will, but now this point in November, like beyond like each party and of each age group disagrees with Biden's response. I'm sure it's for a variety of different reasons, but the youth strongly disagree with Biden's response. And I really think Biden losing the youth and largely a lot of people of color, I think is really going to mess up his candidacy. Because
that's
Biden won the.
it's the Obama coalition, but Biden won because he actually did way better than Hillary with the older white Americans.
Yeah, yeah. But that was in part due to COVID, which is a non-factor now. Because Biden did do really well with the older voters who were very concerned over COVID. COVID's not a thing.
And Trump's response to COVID.
Yeah. And those people are dying off now, too. Now we're now even more younger voters. And Biden won like plus 20, I think, and maybe in the whole country or in certain states, right? I think those margins are going to drop. And, some of these places, Biden, it's going to come down to, like plus one votes, right? Or plus one, whatever you call it, These are going to be very tight states in those swing states. I think Biden's going to do worse with people of color this election. He's going to do way worse with kids this election, I think. He needs to make the up somewhere else, and I just don't know. I think he'll do as well with suburban women as he did last time, maybe better this time. I don't think he's going to do better with older people. He's not going to do better with the kids. He's not going to do better with black voters. He's not going to do better with Arab voters. I mean, he's going to have to get those from the. Essentially, he has to get more white votes, but I don't know. The white votes think he's too left now, right? So I'm just.
Yeah,
I think
pretty much do. Yeah.
I think he's in a conundrum. I don't know. We'll see. I think if the Democrats switch someone out with him, that person will win for sure.
Yeah, they literally can pretty much put anyone else in there, and that person beats Trump.
Yeah. But I think Biden is so unpopular. I think the health concerns are going to keep adding up too. I mean,
he's only going to get older.
Yeah, a year's time now. I mean, the videos are concerning. Not that Trump isn't also old, but I mean, Biden just doesn't. Biden just really doesn't seem like he's there. I think everyone knows that, and I just don't think the Democrats are doing a great job on PR. I mean, maybe to some extent they have, but he just really isn't a good talker. I think you can have old people who might be completely gone in the head, like say Reagan. A terrible guy, but I think Reagan at least was good at a PR, an image. I think at that age, where I think Biden is lacking. But I'm curious your take on that.
Biden literally told us he was not running in 2019. He wasn't going to run re-election. He is a lying piece of shit right now.
But Biden, that's everything of Biden that I think people, has known that Trump was a serial liar, but Biden also has a record of also being a serial liar. Which I think that should be a little bit concerning, right? Like, I don't think it's just that he's an old person. I mean, he's lied multiple times on the Israel-Palestine war, right? He lied about seeing the beheaded babies. He lied about there being a Hamas base on their Al-Shifa hospital. So he's now justifying these war crimes. Some people say he's too old, but he's lied throughout his entire political career. I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but he completely plagiarized his 88 presidential campaign.
Yeah, that's why he had to drop out.
Yeah, I mean, he lied about meeting Mandela during apartheid. He said he got arrested. As a complete lie, and it's kind of an atrocious lie. Like, why would you make that up? It's kind of messed up. And he lied about Obama's presidency too. So I don't know. I mean, all politicians are liars, but Biden said some pretty messed up lies throughout the years.
Okay. Do you want to talk about Argentina now?
Yeah. We have Javier Milei, the ANCAP one. I don't know what to say. It's just gonna be a shit show. I mean, his whole thing is on cutting every single department in Argentina, right? Not every single one, but the majority of ones, like including the Department of Education.
He wants to dollarize the country, and there's no dollars in the banks. No one has dollars.
He wants to liquidate the central bank. Probably going to break the BRICS, is what he's saying. His first bid is going to be to Israel. But yeah, the fact he wants to dollarize his economy is going to completely get rid of Argentina's monetary sovereignty, which every country needs to do any basic policy. So essentially, he's going to turn Argentina into an American colony. Um, I'm not sure why the Argentinian public voted for this. I know they're quite upset with the recent,
Coronas.
the Peronis and the recent parties in power that led to the crisis. You don't vote for Javier. You don't vote for the self-proclaimed anarcho-capitalist to fix it. And they
I think
essentially voted for this talk. Oh, you're gonna say?
I think if they just wanted anyone else but like the main
Yeah.
parties. They got
Yeah.
so fed up. That's like what happened with Trump, to be honest.
Yeah. It's the Trump effect, and we're seeing it in all these countries again. But after years of this happening already, so that's what I don't know. It's a little bit concerning, right? And I think that's kind of the crux of what we want to talk about today. Is that in 2016 and 15 we had Brexit and Trump. I think a lot of people thought that was we all
Like a
knew the
one-off
reasons why it
thing.
happened. Yeah, a one-off thing that people would learn from their mistakes, but I don't know. I mean, we saw this in Argentina. We saw the PVV win a massive win in the Netherlands, which is supposed to be one of the most socially liberal places in Europe. That is very concerning. We know the AFD is doing very well in Germany. And we have this Malay guy winning Argentina, which is a complete, in no reasonable way should this guy be running a country, but yet he is. I don't know. I think we really need to be having some serious conversations about how, the left will respond to this, because it's going to destroy people's lives and people are going to die from these policies of these governments. I don't know. Any thoughts on that, Kyle?
It's quite interesting because I think there's a break in the West at the moment. So people are fed up with neoliberalism, and so you have a bunch of people pretending to be the right-wing populists running on everyone's fears, anger, and they're usually directing it towards minorities instead of any actual issues, and they're blaming immigrants. And it's very easy to blame the other instead of why and yourselves. So that's why they're usually going after the and on top of that, they've always framed Israel versus Hamas as a civilizational conflict between Islam and the West, and that's flaring up again. It seemed like before the Western conservatives were embracing Islam as a conservative bastion against the woke communist left. So you had them having a lot of ties with even Russia and Putin and the other far right movements throughout the world. But it's being reframed again. It seems like most of them still maintain the close relationship with Russia and his anti LBG everything LBGT stance. So, and before, you have the American right funding most of these movements throughout the world as well. It's because they feel like they're losing the culture war in America, so they can best affect change in the world with their monies going into third world countries, Europe as well. And it's very easy nowadays to radicalize people with social media, and it's quite cheap.
Yep. I think I think you make an interesting point about the right's relation to Islam. And I think it almost actually ties into, I think, a split in the Islamic world itself, in my opinion. I need to preface this with Iran is a reactionary regime, but them and their allies are resistant to the American empire, right? And I think what we're seeing now is countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are becoming quite close to conservatives actually in the West. I think Trump had a very close relationship to the UAE and Saudi Arabia, and I think you almost are seeing this glamorization of the Gulf countries' kind of Islam of money, while also this reactionary politics.
But they also it's very safe as well, and it's rich.
Yeah, and Islam that's resistant to the West, which at this time is unfortunately led by the likes of Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and the groups in Iraq. The ones that are fighting the West, this completely takes off a part of the Western brain of the fear of the quote-unquote Oriental savage, right? who's resisting American exploits. So I think this part of the brain's being ticked off again with the reaction of these countries, and I think we're seeing that split being played out, where we're seeing the Gulf countries being very neutral right now. They have to kind of speak a certain way to defend the Palestine, but they really aren't doing anything meaningful. And even seeing the likes of Jared Kushner calling these countries the moderate Middle Eastern countries, which I find hilarious because Saudi Arabia is one of the most anti-democratic countries in the world, definitely compared to Iran. And these are the countries that actually funded ISIS and these Salafist jihadist groups. There's some irony that the right actually feels a lot more cozy with these countries in a way.
It's all thanks to capital, because it's all about the monies.
It's all about the money. It's all about the bills. Yeah. I don't know. Any other predictions for the coming year?
I think either Trump or Biden dies, or Trump or one of them steps down. I think Europe goes full Nazi. There'll probably be an uprising somewhere in the Middle East. On top of the stuff going on with Hamas and Israel and Palestine at the moment.
Inshallah. I mean, I think we might diverge on our opinions here. I don't want to get us any censorship trouble, but I think Israel is actually facing some serious contradictions that I think, in a way, are getting close to existential. Because, what's the long-term solution at this point? We haven't seen this much bloodletting in over almost a half century now. This is going to leave I think it's going to leave a scar for the next half century. How serious this is. The two-state solution is essentially dead at this point, but people want answers around the world. I think people are very unsettled about what's happening. Israel's moving further and further to the right, and I think you're just going to see the Palestinian population become more and more radicalized. But as Israel keeps moving further and further to the right, they're going to start losing Western support. I really wonder. I don't think. I think we and Israel can take for granted their actual place in the imperialist order, because Washington doesn't need Israel. They can find other partners, right? At one time, they needed apartheid South Africa, and then they didn't. I think they could find. I think obviously Saudi Arabia and UAE are fine partners for Washington. I think Washington at a certain point might prefer one democratic state that's bought off on the top, rather than a completely unstable situation in that country that might, lead to a war that never ends. We'll see. But I don't know what are your thoughts on that.
I think we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. At the end of the day, we can't expect how anything will play out. So. Anything else in your end, Kyle?
Myanmar. It looks like the resistance to the military junta is slowly gaining ground in the countryside.
That's really good. I mean, hopefully we see a communist revolution in Myanmar.
Yeah, the Burmese Communist Party is a part of the protracted People's War with the liberals.
Yeah. I heard some critique of I think it was the Communist Party, though, that they actually do very little to prevent the Rohingya genocide. It's disappointing.
They were in exile in China.
Okay, well, never mind. It was something about them, though. And
yeah, they've been in exile in China for since the 90s.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe I'll give them a break then.
The liberals were the ones helping with the genocide. They were in charge of the government, and they let the military go ahead and do it.
Exactly, yeah. Fuck situation over there.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure the Burmese Communist Party has been in China in exile. They just returned because of the Civil War.
Yeah. Okay, well then. They have a chance to redeem themselves. and
It's kind of like
hopefully
how when Lenin had the opportunity to return back to Russia for the revolution.
exactly, yeah. But the Bolsheviks are still operating inside Russia when Lenin was going down.
True.
Yeah.
But
Things
it's
are
also with
complicated.
Myanmar, it's a lot more ethnic conflicts, and there's different like ethnic armies going on.
Yeah. Everything always ties back to the British.
Yeah, because the main ethnic group is the Burmese.
Yeah, the smaller groups, which is the Rohingya. But yeah, if there's nothing else on your end, I think we could wrap this up if you want.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Yeah. Death to fascism,
that's the fascism. That's the fascism.
Freedom to the people.
Yeah, nothing to lose but your chains, guys. Nothing to lose but your chains.
Yeah.
We got
All right.
this.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, guys.